All right, we are live. So Chairman, you have the floor.
All right. Well, everybody, it's good to see everybody through the miracles of modern technology. It looks like we've got a good crowd today. I'm going to go ahead and call to order the Board of Equalization and Review meeting for April 6th, 2021. And can everyone hear me clearly?
I can hear you.
All right. Well, John,
Mr. Chairman,
yes,
Chairman,
sir.
real quick, you may want to tell everybody to mute themselves because I'm hearing some feedback from somebody.
I'm hearing some too. So everyone may want to mute. You may want to put the little red mute until you need to talk, and then you can unclick it. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and start this meeting as always with a silent invocation, and then we'll. I don't have a flag here, but we'll stand up and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and I'll do it without a flag because I think I can handle that. All right. Amen. All right. I'm going to face the flag on my computer screen now. That's great. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Mr. Hill, at this time, could you give us the roll call?
Yes, sir. Commissioner Andy Ponner, Commissioner Ann Floyd Huggins.
Here.
Commissioner Edwin Connelton.
Here.
Commissioner Jeremy King.
Here.
Commissioner John Shepard.
Here.
Commissioner Danny Smith. Commissioner Jay Shackelford.
Here.
All right. According to my count, that's five people here. That means we have a quorum today. We can do some business. All right. Earlier, actually not earlier this week, I think it was late last week, Ms. Heath sent out an agenda. Mr. Hill, are there any additions to that agenda or omissions that were left off of that agenda that we need to add?
No, sir. The agenda's as published.
All right. Well, this time I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda as published.
So moved.
Mr. Congleton makes the motion. Is there a second?
A second.
I'll second it.
All right. I think I heard John first, so I've got a motion to approve the agenda as published. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oh, Jordan, we need to actually do a hand vote, don't we?
Yeah, we have to do
Yeah, roll call vote.
roll call vote. Sorry.
All right. All in favor of approving the agenda, starting with whoever you want to start with, Mr. Hill.
All right. Commissioner Floyd Huggins.
Yes.
Okay. Commissioner Edwin Connelton.
Yes.
Commissioner King.
Yes.
Commissioner Shepard.
Here, yes.
And Commissioner Shackelford.
Yes.
The motion carries unanimously. All right. Earlier as well, we were sent copies of two separate minutes from December meetings. We had a December 14th meeting and a December 30th meeting. Turning to the December 14th meeting first, did everyone have a chance to review the minutes from the December 14th meeting?
Yes.
All right. And did anyone notice any additions to or omissions from those minutes that need to be added or deleted?
No.
Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the December 14th minutes. Actually, I'm going to do these both at one time. And same thing, the December 30th minutes. Did everyone have a chance to review those as well?
Yes.
All right. And did anyone notice any additions that needed to be made or any omissions that needed to be taken out of those December 30th minutes?
No.
All right. Well, at this time, I would entertain a motion to approve both the December 14th and the December 30th minutes as published. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Got a motion from Mr. Shackelford. A second?
I'll second it. John.
I got a second from John. All right. Let's go through that roll call again. This is a motion to approve the minutes from December 14th and December 30th as published.
Commissioner Floyd Huggins.
Yes.
Commissioner Mr. Connelton.
Yes.
Commissioner King.
Yes.
Commissioner Shepard.
Yes.
And Commissioner Shackelford.
Yes.
All right, that motion carries unanimously. We have approved both of those minutes. We are now on to our first action item today. It appears that we have a personal property penalty appeal, from what I could tell, from the taxpayer. I guess it's the Ham Equipment, and it is account number 106. No, that's not right. Ham Equipment. Russell, tell us a little bit about this one.
All right. So this is, like you said, a discovery penalty waiver. Ham Equipment was audited by our auditing firm, and through the auditing process, we discovered that it was it was a very complex audit. The company actually had several machinery equipment installed, taken out. I think maybe who they had the contract with didn't approve the work that was done to the equipment, so they had to have it taken out. They initially listed, and depending on their CPA at the time and contractors, they listed it one value. But when they audited, we found that there was additional equipment that, like I said, was added, taken out, and working with their current CPA and our auditing firm, we've tried to get the listing, everything settled. And they've worked with us. The current CPA has worked with us through this whole process. And I don't have notes as to how long this process has taken, but even our auditing firm said that this was one of the more complex ones that they've seen.
And this is for 2018 and 19. Are they straight on 2020?
Yes, sir. They listed on time all for 20, and this was for 18 and 19. Yes, sir.
And this basically had to deal with stuff that they have that facility out near Farmville. Isn't that what this is?
Yes, sir.
And they put in a bunch of equipment into it, and then they had to pull some of it out. And it's things that classify as personal property, even though they're affixed to the real property. But it's that kind of complicated stuff out there in an industrial manufacturing place. Correct?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
All right. And they're, from what I can tell, they've already paid the taxes for 2018 and 19, and they've paid half the penalty, and they're asking us to waive the other half of the penalty.
Yes,
Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. Other than that letter that they submitted, do they have any other evidence or anything on that?
No, sir. They just, like I said, they have not submitted anything else, and we do have their electronic consent here also.
Oh, I was going to say that. So they have consented to the Zoom hearing, and they would just like us basically to consider that this is a very complicated audit, that this is complicated equipment, a complicated factory, complicated situation, and that equipment was put in and then pulled out at the same time. And they've already gone ahead and paid half their penalty and would like us to waive the other half.
That is correct.
Is there anyone from the taxpayer, Russell, does the county have anything further to add to that?
No, sir, that's it.
All right. Is there anyone from the Ham operation that's here to speak on the taxpayer, or are they just going on the written record?
They're going on the written record, and I think they can be available at the next meeting if the board so chooses to delay this a little bit further.
All right. Well, I think I'm going to go ahead and close this one to evidence. This is a tax penalty case. As the Board of Equalization and Review, we have the authority given to us under the statutes to compromise tax penalties. We don't like to compromise the taxes, but this is not a case where they've not paid the taxes. They've paid in full on the taxes, and they're asking us to waive their penalty based on the complexity and the specific nature of this one. So we have the equitable powers to do that. Does anyone from the board have any ideas?
Well, Mr. Chairman, question for you. And I guess this is for the county. How long does a piece of equipment or something have to stay on a piece of property before the county says it is in their possession? Does that make sense? I mean, you said that Ham Industries put this piece of equipment in and took it out. What is the time in between when they put it in and when they took it out?
I'm not sure as far as I think what they did was I don't know if it was an assembly line, they installed the equipment, and then their who they had the contract with came, and they saw that they didn't approve of what was installed. So they had to take that out and then reinstall it. I think that had to happen several times. I think there's also the cost that's associated with the install and tear down. And so the auditor, once they realized all of that, that's where the discovery penalties came from. I don't think they accounted for all of the installs and tear outs that they had to do.
Yeah, I don't think I had heard about this one before. I don't represent them or have any specific knowledge in this, but I had heard that they had a difficult situation over there. And it is true when you have a piece of equipment that goes, a specialty piece of equipment that goes into an industrial production facility, the cost of the engineering of it and the soft cost, these costs of space and putting in becomes part of the property value in there, even if you pull it out. And to answer your question, Dad, I think the answer would be January 1st. What do you have in there on January 1st? I think is, if you have it in there on January 1st, I think it is personal property. Whether you have to tear it out or not is what I think the law would say. Whether that's equitable or not is a question for us. But the law says if you have it on January 1st, it is listed for personal property taxes for that year. So I think that's why they're coming to us and asking us to relieve half the penalty because of the equities in the matter, not that there's a dispute about the law. That sound accurate, Mr. Hill?
Yes, sir, that is.
Ed, does that clear anything up for you or make you feel any differently about this case?
Well, I'm still trying to wrap my head around that they put equipment in and then they tore it out and so forth and so on. I'm going to make a motion that we, trying to think of the proper term, that we negate the penalty on this issue.
You make a motion that we grant
relief on the
request.
penalty. Yes.
Yeah. All right. I've got a motion from Ed that we grant the relief requested by the taxpayer and waive half the penalties. They've already paid the other half, so that's not really a dispute. So is there a second to Ed's motion?
I'll second that.
All right. Does anyone want to discuss it?
I think we had some precedent, some similar situation like this last year that we played when the company was actively working with the tax department and, trying to get everything straightened out. So I think that's reasonable.
Yeah, I think this is I had heard about this one before. I think this is one of these special situations where the taxpayer is just in a pickle, basically, because of the law and what went in there. I think they're probably being taxed for stuff they didn't have in there at the time because it's only 2018 and 19. But the big thing for me is this taxpayer's already paid all the taxes before they came to us and paid half the penalty. That makes me much, much more favorable to them. And usually I'll say I'm not in favor of waiving all the penalties. I at least want to charge them 20%. But in this case, they've already paid 50%. I'm going to support the motion. All right. So does anyone else have anything else to add? All right. Let's have a roll call. The motion is to grant relief to the taxpayer and waive the 1/2 penalties they've not paid yet.
Commissioner Floyd Huggins,
Yes.
Commissioner Congleton,
Yes.
Commissioner King,
Yes.
Commissioner Shepard,
yes,
and Commissioner Shackelford.
Yes.
All right. The motion carries unanimously. All right. The next thing we have on here is any old business. Mr. Hill, what do we have for old business today?
I think we was gonna let I think Jordan was gonna give an update on an earlier appeal that we had last year for Greenville Mobile Estate, untimely appeal.
All right, Jordan, what happened? What do we got going on?
Yeah, just to inform the board, sorry for that. I'm getting feedback from a mic. Try to move away. Just to remind the board, in 2020, on June 11th, y'all adjourned for the year, meaning y'all no longer accepted any new appeals, but you continued to hear matters that were filed prior to that adjournment date. We had a couple of property owners, one being Greenville Mobile Estates. They filed an appeal after that adjournment date. Y'all held a hearing in November of 2020 about whether or not y'all could even hear their appeal, given it was filed after the adjournment date. Long story short, y'all voted to deny them a hearing on an appeal based off, in part, my interpretation of a statute saying that y'all didn't have the authority to hear it since it was filed after the adjournment date. The update is they filed a further appeal to the North Carolina Property Tax Commission, which hears appeals from your board. And the update is that the North Carolina Property Tax Commission dismissed their appeal for the same reasons that y'all voted not to hear their appeal, in that it was originally filed after the board's adjournment date. We don't have a written decision from the PTC yet, but I think it's just based off the fact that they filed their appeal to y'all after the adjournment date. And y'all didn't have the jurisdiction to hear it, and the PTC didn't think that they had the jurisdiction to grant any type of hearing. That was one of two similar cases. A second one still pending at the PTC, and same similar set of facts. I suspect the same outcome, but have a hearing on that later this month. And just wanted to give the board update on that. I'd be happy to answer any questions y'all may have.
I have one, Jordan. I thought they had a good case, and we just decided we weren't, didn't have the authority to hear it. Are they able to do it, to appeal again this year?
They are able to appeal their property value for 2021, but given it's not a reval year, there's more limited criteria that y'all are confined to consider. Whereas 2020 being a reval year, it's much more open-ended as into what factors y'all can take into consideration.
Okay.
Yeah, in a non-reval year, which is we're in this year, next year, and the year after that, I think it's 105,287. It has to be like a clerical error or an obvious mistake, or you can't appeal just that the value is too high and go through a full hearing on that. It has to be some kind of specific something wrong with that account, basically. You're not an overall market decline or market acceleration, or a good reason to appeal would be like your property burnt down after that. But they're going to be very restricted, I think, on what they can appeal on. However, to be honest with you, given what's happened over the last year and the rise we're having in property values, crazily enough, specifically on mobile home parks, which have now become a hot commodity. I doubt that anyone's seriously going to appeal on values of mobile homes. Crazily enough, if they did appeal, even though properties have gone up since January 1st, 2020, we would still have to look at the schedule of values from January 1st, 2020, despite that we've had appreciation in the market since then. So I just don't think it's that likely that their appeal would be successful, even though I did think they had a good appeal last year. And I can't imagine it with the values that we're seeing now, that it really is worthwhile. Yeah.
I think the issue wasn't necessarily that from a mobile home park standpoint, the improvements were the issue. It was more the land underneath was valued more as a commercial property than home park land. So I think that's what inflated the values a bit. So yeah, I think they may still have a case if they can make that argument. I just was curious if they could. I
think that would fall into the statute, though, if there was like some kind of error in designating it as a commercial instead of a development. Valuing it as a commercial tract could actually be one of the 105,287 triggers. I can't guarantee that, but I think I certainly am willing to listen to it. And I was willing to listen to the last one if we had the authority to do it.
Absolutely.
It felt like we didn't. And so did the Property Tax Commission. So yeah, if we let them know, that it's 2021 and, hey, you've got a different bite at the apple, but nonetheless a bite, maybe they'll think to appeal. Jordan, you got anything else on this one or anything else to report to us?
The only thing, and it's related, so I think we all agreed that this was the first time that we had these hearings on timeliness. I've been with the county 6 years. I don't know what we did prior. I will just say that NCDOR and the PTC's general counsel and secretary, in preparing for my appeal to them, I have found out that they absolutely prefer local boards to have some type of hearing on quote unquote untimely appeals and render a decision such that there can be further appeals. They do not prefer that tax administrators just refuse to issue schedule a hearing. So I know it puts y'all in a strange situation. Essentially, you have this taxpayer coming before you and you have the attorney saying you don't have the authority to do anything here. But that's the preference from at least the PTC's lawyer. So I just offer that for whatever it's worth. And that concludes my update.
Well, that was good advice that you gave us back then, and it seems to have worked out right. I'm glad that Pitt County is a shining example of how to handle a procedural hearing. So that makes me feel good too. So, all right, I I guess that moves us on to new business. Russell, do we have any new business today?
No, sir.
All right. Well, in that case, I know we don't adjourn today because today is the first, statutorily, we have to meet after the first Monday in April. So I know we're not adjourning, but I think we recess today. And in that case, I would entertain a motion to recess until our next hearing, which I believe is it April 20th, 2 weeks from today?
Yes. Yes, sir. That's
All right.
correct.
I would entertain a motion to recess until April 20th.
So moved.
All right, Mr. Congleton, do I have a second?
Second.
All right. I think Commissioner Huggins got that one in. Let's have that roll call vote, and we'll be out of here for today.
Commissioner Floyd Huggins,
Yes.
Commissioner Congleton,
Yes.
Commissioner King,
Yes.
Commissioner Shepard,
Yes.
and Commissioner Shackelford.
Yes.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we are adjourned until April 20th. Thank you so much to the technology department for putting this together. Thank you so much to Mr. Hill for serving in an admirable way as the clerk today. And thank you so much to Ann for putting together the materials for us last week. I will see you guys in 2 weeks, and thanks.
Thanks, Ann.
You're welcome. It's good to see you. You take care.
Okay, you too.